son of a bitch.
Crazy son of a bitch with a train! Boop, boop.
So, World War Z, huh? Yeah, it does seem odd that we're getting a movie tie-in game for a film that came out 6 years ago, especially given the overcrowded market of zombie games. Although, this one is heavily based off the Left 4 Dead series, and we haven't had a Left 4 Dead game since 2009, as it's a well-known fact that Valve seems to have trouble with the number 3. So, can Saber Interactive's take on this beloved co-op format fill that void? I'm Dave with MojoPlays, and this is my review of World War Z.
This gate is locked! Someone get it open! Got it. Buy me some time. Massive horde heading in!
When I say heavily based on Left 4 Dead, I mean that as a severe understatement. Aside from going for a third-person perspective, this game's main 4-player co-op campaign is almost a complete recreation of Valve's zombie shooter, right down to the special zombies and director AI. But at the same time, I'm not saying that as a knock against the game. After all, no series should be allowed to have exclusive rights to a game genre. PUBG.
Hiroji, was LA this bad when you were there?
It was different.
How so?
A lot of guns, everybody's high, panic, bad combination.
The co-op campaign is split into 4 different chapters set in New York, Jerusalem, Moscow, and Tokyo, though as a nod to the narrative style of the novel, each chapter has its own set of 4 different heroes to follow, rather than focusing on the same team throughout the entire game. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of this direction, as none of the heroes really have enough screen time to connect to the player. They do have their own animated sequences that tell their backstories, but even now writing this review, I really couldn't remember any of their names.
Sent up a flare to save the next generation. It said, this is where we've been.
Okay, so while the story takes a backseat, the gameplay does shine through. If you're not familiar with the Left 4 Dead series, the game tasks 4 players in co-op to make their way from one end of the map to the other, while facing waves of zombies as they ambush them along the way. On top of that, the game will randomly generate new weapons and health kits in hidden locations, depending on how well your team is doing.
Now that's a weapon.
Then of course, you have the special zombies that keep the players on their toes. First, you've got the lurkers, or creepers, the game uses both for some reason,
Got eyes on a lurker!
which act just like Left 4 Dead's pouncing hunters. Then there are bulls, which are essentially chargers, albeit with a lot of health. Hazmat zombies eject toxic gas whenever you kill them, and screamers will attract more zombies with a piercing scream, as their name would imply.
That screamer needs to die!
Still, there are elements in World War Z that make it stand on its own. At multiple points in each map, you'll have to hunker down and prepare to defend yourself against a massive swarm of zombies. While these were in Left 4 Dead, World War Z adds a deeper layer of strategy to these sections by allowing players to set up various defenses like automatic turrets or shock traps. Careful placement of these defenses can be vital during the harder difficulties, as the simple spectacle of seeing just how many zombies are coming at you can be pretty frightening. I mean, look how many there are! Holy crap!
You shot me!
During some of these moments, zombies will also recreate the iconic zombie pyramid scene from the film, as they try to climb up to your position or over fences. Yeah, it does lose its novelty when it keeps on showing up, but it does keep the team on its toes. The game also sports an XP progression system, where players level up after completing a level. The higher the difficulty, the more XP and in-game coins are earned. XP adds more skill tree perks to become available, and in-game coins are used to unlock them. There are 6 different classes to choose from, each with their own skill trees, and thankfully there's no microtransactions in the game. However, you will have to replay the levels quite a few times if you want to unlock everything, as each of the 4 campaigns takes roughly an hour to complete.
It's just pissing them off.
Like kicking an anthill.
Fortunately, there are plenty of incentives to replay the levels. The game sports 5 difficulty levels, all of which are fully explained about what modifications they bring to the game, as well as what level the player should be before starting it. Though to be honest, you could probably skip the 1 skull difficulty setting, it's way too easy. While the content did feel a bit lacking, I did find myself coming back to co-op more times than I thought, so there is a good reason to stick around. The game also supports a competitive multiplayer mode, but it's not like Left 4 Dead's multiplayer at all. Instead, it's your typical deathmatch and domination style modes that you can find in the likes of Call of Duty, though with a twist. While each match has 2 teams of 4 against each other, zombies are crawling around the map, and every few minutes a swarm will flood the map and attack whatever they come across. While it's a cool feature that makes the undead feel like a force of nature, the PvP overall feels underwhelming due to some bare bones features. For one, you can't choose which map you want to fight on, as matchmaking is only reserved to quick play, and what game mode you want to play.
Reloading!
The classes in the PvP are separate from the campaign, thus have their own progression system. But with no real standout modes here, the experience started to feel like a tacked on afterthought. Graphic-wise, the visuals won't be pushing any technical benchmarks, and I did encounter a few visual glitches from time to time, such as animations not playing properly, zombies clipping into one another, or explosion effects not appearing at all. Though nothing during gameplay that hurt my progression. Unfortunately, throughout my review session, I also experienced frequent problems with the game's matchmaking. In the campaign, there's no option to switch between joining a lobby before the game starts, or joining one already in progress, meaning if I wanted to join a group of strangers, the game would almost always put me in a mission where the players were way ahead of me, or pretty late into the mission. I also had cases where the game wouldn't get past the loading screen, where it said it was waiting for more players, but nothing was happening for a good 5 minutes or so. In these cases, all I could do was force quit the game from the task manager.
Down you go, bitches!
Overall, I found my time with World War Z's co-op mode to be enjoyable. PvP, not so much. Yet, as long as you know what you're getting yourself into, and at a reduced price of $35 on PC and $40 on consoles, I can still give this game my recommendation. Though PC players do be advised this is an Epic Store exclusive. It may not be the true Left 4 Dead successor that fans have been holding out for, but it's still worth looking into if you've been dying for a quality title in the genre.
Mowing them down!
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos straight away.